the rodents kind of migrated west of California to kind of a line that goes between North Dakota and Texas, and we call that kind of the plague line. And that's where you see rodents that have plague, and that's where you see the human cases that happen every year, probably, like I said, 4 to 7.
USAA auto insurance is often handed down from generation to generation. USAA auto insurance is often handed down from generation to generation. Begin your legacy. Get an auto insurance quote. USAA. We know what it means to serve.
You might have spent some quality time with your dad or your father figure yesterday, from a quick call to a full day of fun, but of course that's not always possible when dad is in the armed services. So if you've got a box of tissues nearby, grab it, because tonight's Moment of Awesomeness is a beautiful viral ad by Dove for Men that's going to move you beyond words.
My name is Staff Sergeant John Gallagher. The last 7 months I've been deployed to Helmand Province, Afghanistan.
Since we've been deployed, we had our second baby, Reed. He was not able to be there for his birth.
I think I'm just like any other dad who would travel and be away from their family. It's pretty tough. Only the short, every moment away, you're never going to get back.
He's my best friend. The love of my life. We've been together for 10 years.
This is a picture from my wife and I's wedding.
It's our first dance. I guess our first kiss as husband and wife. We were high school sweethearts.
It's a beautiful day. She was absolutely gorgeous.
This is Kate and John.
That's kind of one of my favorite things to do, is just prop her on my shoulders and walk around.
That's the picture of Reed. Son has yet to meet him. He's 2 months old.
I hope instantly that I feel like his father. I think it will take a short period of time. I'll feel like that, you know.
Oh my God.
Wow, what a great program. Operation Homefront and Dove helped John and about 300 other service members reunite with their families for Father's Day.
Let's put that in June.
She just loves it.
Oh my God, so gross.
select tutors that work 24/7. So buy one Samsung Galaxy.
This is a spring to something. Don't know why it's in there. Alright. There's crap in here too. Doesn't have very much strength on here. Is this the start of angle engagement? Correction down here. I don't even know why there are marks in between each tooth here. What's going on here? And then at the same time, there's only one hole here for like a Swiss cheese, but then stops. Maybe it doesn't have a Dremel. Not certain. Doesn't sound like there's bearings in here. Doesn't sound like it. Pull this off here. And wow, it doesn't look right on the inside here. Looks like he glued the air nozzle to the Tappet plate. Did he? It looks like he tried to, but it's not holding on there very well. Yeah, because I can pull that off if I want to. It's come off very easily. Looks like some kind of a should never do some kind of Permatex here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remove that because the inside does not look done properly. Yeah, that should not. The inside is just moving around. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get that out too easily. Maybe hammer it out and fix this up. This is not how I do this. Actually, this seems like it's coming right up. There we go. Sorry I'm breaking your seal, but I'm gonna make it better, trust me. Yeah, this is absolutely terrible. See, this is why you have sorbothane breaking in right here. And the center of this is because this is not centered, and as it's hitting here, it's not flat properly. This is not very good on here. I mean, it comes off very easily. This isn't even trying. I'm just gonna rip this off and put my own over this. Yeah, because you can see the little pieces that were actually going down into the cylinder head. They're starting to come out. So I'm going to take this apart. This looks like the previous Neopad here, what it started with. was only applied on top of, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to take this whole thing off. So I'm going to have to do that. Where this spring came from and what it is, it just looks like some kind of spring that maybe went to the, I want to say the cut-off lever, I'm not really certain. What is going on there, I don't know. Looks like maybe some JB weld, but not really. Some JB quick or something was here for delay, but then it looks like it was removed. I don't know. Popped off, made a mess. Who knows? These need to be cleaned. So these gears are going to get cleaned. How many shims are right there? Okay, I'm not even going to care what the shimming is. I'm just going to take it out and fix it properly. Look at this, star-shaped. It's the first time I've seen a star-shaped shim. And that's probably because of this right here. Gave it the star shape. I'm guessing, unless there really are star-shaped shims, I've never seen them until right now. I'm thinking that this was grinded down here. See how it comes aligned with this? Possibly been over-shimmed, or the bushings are too loose and they crushed the gear a little bit. Not really certain what's going on with that. Okay, and the bushings, talk about the bushings. The bushings look different. That's just not the way to do things here. A little different between these two. This one. It's just not the way you want to do things. Okay, let's just go ahead and pull this out. I'm not sure why this is here. And it looks like you try to epoxy these in here with maybe some kind of quick or something. This doesn't look done right. This here doesn't look done right. This is not done right. And this is broken, obviously. Solder looks like it's applied not in the right spot. You're supposed to put it into the edge, not on the outer edge, like down into the edge of it, the 90-degree edge, so that it sticks very well in there. Let's check this. This is not very good either. Just look at that, it's not even really moving the contacts. They need to be bent like this. There you go. Part of the metal just gets worn, and then it just stays that shape. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to clean the gearbox shell, and we've got a version 3 SHS spring guide right here. with a hole through it. The screwdriver doesn't go very far, but I'm going to Dremel a hole here in the back. The gearbox shell's already radiused, don't need to worry about that. I'm going to clean off and pull out all these bushings. They're going to come out. There's metal shavings in the gearbox that needs to be cleaned up. Overall, not too bad. We gotta look at everything though. Why are the edges of the piston on this side like they're broken up? Something was in the gearbox and it cycled. This should be epoxied in place. And why are there cuts all along the piston here? I don't get it. It looks like some of these teeth were actually hit with something. Maybe they're too big and they're cut down to fit in here. I don't know. It's possible that this gear could have made that damage. Depending on a couple of things. Let's move that out of the way for a second here. Alright, watch. We'll put the sector gear right here. Put the piston in. And the piston seems like it comes down pretty low. Wow. Seems like this gets pretty close to stuck. That's not a good thing at all. Just so I could run a test here. Just seems kind of tight between the teeth, but they look like they've been pre-shaved or something. Maybe overuse, it did it itself. I'm not really certain. This needs to be definitely epoxied if you're ever going to use something like this, because this is not supported. I mean, this is not really that strong, but we're not sticking with a stock motor, sticking with some kind of SHS, so I guess we're gonna probably should epoxy this rack. People recommend always epoxy it, always. Sometimes epoxy is not going to save you though. I just don't like the design of such a small amount of a little bit of plastic that holds the piston from breaking out the back. Wow. So what is used here? Super glue or something in the threading? Just need to use some red thread lock. I'm not sure what that white stuff is. White out. Just a guess. Okay, pull this out here. I'm just looking over everything here. Seeing if any of the holes are plugged. Okay. All right. Not too bad. Just looking over everything here. There's an O-ring on the air nozzle. Seems to be nicely fit when you put it on. I think that these two, this SHS, SHS, a lot of these parts seem to be SHS. Not that great of a cylinder. You want to be careful with these if they do bend. What happens is that they can get the piston head stuck and they deform. And if that happens, if they get too deformed, what happens is there can be pre-engagement, so you have to be careful of that. The rack's definitely not glued in place. And see, I just don't understand all these pre-cuts. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, the back of this is real easy to break. Not sure what's going on with this. Is that like a JB Quick paste or something? Well, it's removable. And I want to say that you probably shouldn't be using this piston. I don't know how well that can be seen, but this is definitely not straight. This is about between here and here is straight. So between here and here is straight, but from here to here is not. The rack bends up. Let's see if we can see that very well here. So you can kind of see it now. So from here to here is straight, and then from there to there is bent. And I've done this before, that if this is bent up, it can actually, under a high stress build, it can actually break your spring. It can start to become pretty much like I'm trying to think of the name off the top of my head, a slinky. It'll become like this, like all jacked up. Right now it looks fine. Because what happens is, you got your bearings in here. There are no bearings in this one. But maybe this is not pinching the this. If this is not getting pinched, then you'll be okay. Maybe that's why this is okay right now. However, it's not a good idea to run a piston with a bent rack. It's just not a good idea. So we'll see what he says. What else is there to check? I mean, these just flop right out, man. This is not how you do this. What you're supposed to do is to demonstrate. I've got a screwdriver here. This one. I take this and I scratch. Like this, and I spend a lot of time. And basically, it will look like this. Right in the bushings area. You've got to remove as much paint as you can See right there, that's what it's supposed to look like all around here. Deep indentions of scratching, and we don't have anything like that on this shell right here. Nothing. So what happens is this is really smooth, it's painted, and you put epoxy on it, and since you don't really take the time to scratch this all up and make this bad, it just kind of comes right off. Let's look at the motor here. This is the motor we want to use, and one of the, on the end bell here, the motor tabs is broken off. What you could do technically is you could solder to this end right here, or excuse me, right here, the one's broken. You could just actually solder a wire down to it, and it should still work fine. However, I'm going to go ahead and replace that. This looks really dirty. The pinion's got some markings on it too. It's been too close to the bevel. That's not good because it's already started its middle line along it. It can be still usable, but it's just got wear that's going to be there forever. That's basically what I'm saying. I mean, it could have been worse. There's definitely plenty of room to do your motor height. A lot of these that I work on, you can't even move the motor once it's in here, so you can't even adjust the motor height. Here's a JG, a black end bell. This could have been removed. I'm not really certain. It doesn't look like it. Pinion on this looks good. And from my understanding, he just wants to take this off and put it on there. And that's going to depend. If you look at this, sometimes these are unique-ish. This can be done with like a Lonex pretty easily. Looks like SHS used some kind of glue or something. That's what it looks like in here. I don't know. I'll have to go over that. Let's look at the MOSFETs. Well, what can I say? The insulation's kind of taken apart here. The solder, there's no wire coming out of this right here. And this one is just completely cut open there. If the MOSFET's still good, it can be rewired to be usable again. Let's look at this one. Man, I can't stand electrical tape. That's just me. It's got to be heat shrinked. This doesn't cut it, guys. Come on, seriously. This doesn't cut it at all. It looks like there's heat shrink there, maybe, possibly, but then it's taped over. Maybe it's bad solder, who knows? Maybe it isn't, but still, you want to do this where it's a lot better looking. The solder here, I don't know, man. And then there's cutting up in the wire in the middle of areas. You can't have that because then red and black wire could be touching somewhere and you have a short. You should not be doing this like that. So looking over the gears here and make sure nothing moves. There's no real grease on these. I'm not sure why there isn't any grease on them. There should be grease on them, considering that you probably was saying you were done with this and then changed it out and decided not to. Let's see the fitting on this one. Fitting is really bad on this one. You can really see through this one. Fitting on that's okay. And the really bad one is the sector, which you can really see through. Yeah, it's not on there straight, so the gear is not completely straight. And looking for fractures on sector teeth. I do see something awkward here. The pickup is cut down. Why is it partially cut down? Maybe it has something to do with this. The way it hit into this. You know, if this is slipping, hits and slips, that could be part reason why. It looks like it's indented. I don't want to say it was cut down, it looks like it was indented. I don't know. But it definitely looks worn. Might be a little too worn, I'm not sure. That's just going to be under hand testing, but the piston, don't definitely want to run that. I think that's pretty much all I can say for now. Let's check the Tappet plate. This really is just not necessary to glue this on here. Unless it's really loose and it's going to come right off, then it's necessary. Let's grab this gearbox shell here. Put this right in here with the sector gear. Just grab a bushing. It's not like it really matters. Okay, so you put it in here. And hits. This should be okay with a low rate of fire. However, with a probably take a version 2 and modify it. Make it stay delayed longer, get a better feed. I think that's all that can be said on here. Just some things that need to be fixed up. Let's see here. Here. I'm just kind of looking over everything. Doesn't look too bad. Just going to take a lot of work, a lot of preparation time and cleaning, and probably looking through the gears, seeing what's usable. What's usable for the piston here? I don't think so, because the rack is bent. It's just not a good idea. Everything else seems to be okay. This spring is pretty weak. May not be good with the motor. 13-to-1 right here. So we got 13-to-1 with what seems to me, if I pull out my M120, it might actually be a little stiffer than this. I'm not certain. And we don't seem to have any sector teeth removed, which we don't. You could possibly get pre-engagement, and the weird thing about this, I've never seen a sector gear with indentation on the sector gear here. You can kind of see it's indented. Very first 2 teeth, which is very awkward. Let's check cutoff. If I can get this thing in here. Okay, so you rotate. Cutoff is about in the right section. Cutoff lever doesn't go up very high though. That can be a bad thing. The reason it doesn't go up very high is because only a very little section of it actually touches the bushing right here, because this is where it's going to be hit by the sector gear, and it's just not going to go very high. Now, possibly could still pull the anti-reversal latch out of the way That's all going to depend on checking. What other parts do we have over here? We've got let's see here. Oh, it looks like maybe we've got a cutoff lever here. Maybe something like a ZCI. Yeah, that looks like that should work better for cutoff lever. We can still use the red one here. Something strange to me is there should be usually a post or something right in between these contacts. I don't see anything there as far as a post. A lot of guns I've worked on have a little post inside there. So we've got more, it looks like, more trolleys, more. Okay, so here's a tappet plate with a contact. We don't want to use contact, it's not reliable anymore. And then, wow, I don't even know what's going on here. See, you can see the post in this one, but it's like not even screwed on properly. This looks melted. It looks like someone might have tried to do a MOSFET install and didn't finish. Is what it looks like. Maybe, possibly, not really certain. Alright, so gonna have to be some work done. It looks like I can steal this piece right here and exchange it for the one that's broken here. It does not take very much solder to put on that because it's a gate wire, where your gate wires would go if you're installing MOSFET. Let's see the anti-reversal latch. Nothing on the gears move, right? None of the axles are movable. Okay. Let's grab this and this. And yeah, my hands are really black by this point. This doesn't look like it gives enough push for the bevel. But it does. But it only gives barely enough, so in that case it needs to be stretched. Because it's got to give more than barely enough. If it only gives barely enough, it won't lock properly. And that is better. That's what you want right there. So this is what the gearbox shell should look like. You can see all kinds of scraped off the paint and scratched it up as much as I could. And on the other side as well, inside the bushing holes in the other shell. Another thing that was done is trimming this away. So the sector delay clip, if you ever add one, or if the cam hits in this area, it's impossible to now. This is cut for bevel to pinion, easy access. Also cut is a hole for the spring guide. Now I notice the spring guide is in there solid, so a screw is not necessary but could be used, I believe. It does look like it has threading, so maybe that's a possibility. However, it's not necessary at all in this case. I just put it in there so it's easy to grab the spring guide. Also, if this is ever upgraded, you can use a ball bearing spring guide with a screwdriver all the way through it, so you can use heavy springs easily. Makes it much easier to insert and close. This also has the removal for the beveled pinion. So with both of these removed, leaves a nice big hole to see the pinion and the bevel. And that's how I prepped this. And that was about, I want to say, an hour, maybe an hour and a half of work already. I was prepping this. But it's a nice prep. And if you liked looking over this, probably wondering why I'm using one hand. So I got a lollipop. What do I eat at the tech table? A lemonade lollipop. Give a thumbs up for that. Yeah, like, now if you liked everything that you're seeing that I'm working on, give a like, and I'll keep making certain types of videos that have likes. Other than that, I'm out.